What up, reader fam? Today I thought that I would talk about 5 books that I didn't expect to love, but then I read the books and they became favorites. It's always nice when you go into a book and you're not sure what you're gonna get, and then you finish that book and you just want to drop on one knee and propose. That might not be a very good example, but you get what I'm saying. The first book I have on my list is a man called Avait. I hope I'm saying that correctly because I know that I've mispronounced this in the past, so I apologize if I'm mispronouncing it. This story is basically about this old grumpy pants named Avait. He's this person that's just very set in his ways, and it's his way or the highway. He especially really likes to keep things in order when it comes to his neighborhood. So then one day this family moves in next door and they kind of cause a bit of disorder. And from there our story begins to unfold. I honestly had no idea what I was getting myself into with this book. I originally read this book because I was like, I really want to spice up my reading life. I don't want to only read YA. So I decided to throw this adult fiction book into the mix. And this book was the perfect one to mingle into my reading life because it was absolutely delightful. When I first started reading it, I'll admit I was like, am I really gonna spend my time reading a book about a Mr. Grumpy Pants? But then as the story unfolds, you begin to realize there's a lot more to his character. It's a book that definitely packs quite a bit of an emotional punch. For the most part, it's pretty like happy-go-lucky, but then you get hit by, then you get struck by emotions, feels, sadness. Next up I have Little Monsters. This is a YA thriller story about this girl who moves to this new town. She makes friends with these girls and they kind of start acting fishy-fishy, and one night they go to this party without her and she's over here like, what the heck guys, leaving me out? So she goes to bed that night and wakes up the next morning and one of the girls that went to the party ends up going missing. So our main character decides that she is going to get to the bottom of her disappearance. She's gonna figure out what the heck happened to her friend. I have a bad history with YA thrillers. A lot of the ones that I've read in the past were pretty dang predictable. I could either see what the twist was going to be right from the start, or I'd be let down by the twist in the story, or I'd give a big ol' eye roll. If you're gonna give me a mystery thriller story, at least have the shock factor deliver. Thankfully, this book, without a doubt, came through. It delivered that shock factor that I'd been missing from all those other YA thriller mystery stories. The author did an impeccable job of making it kind of difficult to figure out what's behind this girl's disappearance. She misleads you, and by the end of it, she's like, surprise, suckers! She played me dang good with this book. In fact, I could almost just see the author snickering in my head as everything began to play out in the end. Kind of like, dead. Next up, I've got The Martian by Andy Weir. This story is about a guy who goes on a mission to Mars, and his team has to evacuate, and he gets left behind. Talk about terrifying. Someone's got bad luck, and it's this main character. But not only that, on Earth, they think he's dead. And he's up there on Mars like, y'all, hello, I'm still alive, just trying to survive. For some reason, I was hesitant about this book. I had heard amazing things about it, but for some reason, I was just afraid that it was just gonna be over my head the whole time. And sure, there were definitely things that were over my head throughout the story, but everything else was amazing. It's got comedy, it's got intensity, it's got potatoes. That's a bit of a reader inside joke. Next up I have This Adventure Ends. This story is about a girl who moves from Florida to New York with her family, and it's about her kind of finding herself in this friend group unexpectedly. She ends up becoming very close to these two twins who are in this friend group. Their mom, who passed away, was an artist, and one of her paintings accidentally gets sold, and so our main character Sloane decides that she is going to track down this painting for her new friends. I received this book as a present for my sister on Christmas, and I kind of wanted her to get this book for me because I love the cover, and also partly because I used to watch this author's YouTube channel and I really liked her videos. But I'm not gonna lie, I did kind of have reservations about this book because when I first read the description I was like, this kind of sounds like a mess. But it wasn't at all. It had all these elements that I love just come together in the story, and it just made my heart so happy. It has a focus on friendship, which is something that I love seeing in books. We have a main character who is hilarious but also super imperfect. And lastly, it had this really strong focus on family, which going into this I didn't know was going to be a strong element in the story, but it was one of my favorite parts of this book. So it just had all these things going for it that I loved, and it became an instant favorite. The last on my list is a manga, and that is the Orange manga. This story is about a girl who receives a letter from her future self. In the letters, her future self is asking her to change certain things about her life in order to prevent a devastating event from taking place in her life. Something that her future self has already had to deal with. I pretty much picked up this series because I was excited that it only takes place in these 2 volumes. With most manga series, I find them really hard to commit to because normally manga series can be so super unnecessarily long. So when I saw there were only 2 volumes for this story, I was like, yes, please. And oh man, this manga blew me away. It's emotional, it's heart-wrenching, and it instantly jumped on my favorites list the second I finished it. So those are 5 books, though technically 6 because the manga is technically 2 mangas, but we're just gonna go with 5 different stories. Those were 5 stories that just jumped up onto my favorites list. I went into them expecting nothing, didn't think they were gonna have that much of an effect on me, but I ended up coming out of each of those books loving them. You guys should let me know down below in the comments books that you went into not expecting much, but then you read them and they just instantly became one of your favorite books. Let me know down below in the comments. If you like this video, be sure to give it a big thumbs up. I post videos frequently on this channel, so if you want to be notified as to when I post new videos, be sure to go and hit subscribe, or go and click the little bell icon and you'll be notified as to when I post new videos. Thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you soon with a new video. Bye, chew.